Hello everyone, so I just wanted to talk about the story I seen yesterday about the A&E particularly. They reckon that 48 people or so a week in Ireland die waiting to be seen to an A&E. Now, as you know, a lot of cases, people wait 8 hours, people wait 12 hours, good God, people wait 15 hours at one stage. Like, it's absolutely insane when you really think about it, how long people have to wait. And there's no surprise that 48 people die a week, and it's probably more, God forbid, it probably is more. Because it's like a war zone, particularly in Cavan there, it's like a war zone because all the people from Monaghan too have to go to Cavan because there's no accident emergency in Monaghan. The government closed that. Thank you very much to the government. So pretty much the government have created this. Even though, the other hand too, they've thrown money, they've literally thrown billions at the HSE, billions, like literally more money than probably any other health service in Europe, let's be fair. And they're throwing money, hundreds of billions of euro at the HSE and there's no results. And of course all that money nearly goes missing and nobody can find out where it's gone to. But yeah, there's so many people like in agony in A&E waiting hours. Like there's been cases in Cavan, not even to mention about the ambulances not turning up. They wait hours for ambulances to turn up to cases. I have my own experience of that, but you know, we're not getting to that. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, there's people waiting hours and hours, people with broken legs. In other cases, very severe stuff. And there's no surprise that people are dying waiting to be seen to an A&E. Because in some cases, I say it's 15 hours, 12 hours, like quite literally. And then when they do get seen to the left on trolleys in the corridors, or in some cases closets and stuff and left on the side, it's a great health service. And you know, it's disgusting, it really is. And especially when you hear the government at the moment, they're on about, oh, we need to protect people online, we need to protect children, we need to do this, we need to do that. You know, we need to look after people. That's what they're trying to say at the moment. You know, by suppressing people's freedom of speech, and shutting people up basically, and shutting up the things that we don't like. And that's pretty much what's happening, you know. And the government, you're more worried about that than they are, but people literally dying in A&E and stuff because they're waiting so long to be seen to. And it's disgusting. And not even that too. That's only people waiting in A&E. Imagine how many people waiting for ambulances. Like myself, as I said there, my father last Christmas, this time last year actually, waited 4 hours for an ambulance to turn up, which was great. I'm sure you would imagine, because we didn't know was he going to live and die in line on the floor for 4 hours. I talked about it before, but it's not. People are waiting in some cases 5 hours. People are waiting longer, but you wonder, yeah, and God knows how many people that's killing a year. So take for example, as I just said with A&E, that's nearly 2,000 or so a year. If it's 48 a week, sometimes it could be more, it could be less in some cases, but in a lot of cases probably is more. I say it's probably up in the 50s, 60s people that are dying. Like every week in A&E, and that's not even including then the ambulance waiting for ambulances. You could be talking about, good God, you could be talking about 70, 80 a week people maybe dying across the country, because it's not just even the A&E bit, it's the ambulances getting to people's houses bit. That's the other bit. But yeah, it is a national disgrace. But when you hear the government on about, oh, we care about people, we want to protect people, we want to do this and we want to do that, you know, instead of worrying what people say online, like, of course there's bad things online, I'm not saying this, everything's great online, and you know, people don't bully people or, you know, don't commit crimes online, I'm not saying that, but I'm more or less saying, you know, when people are literally dying of, say for example, strokes and heart attacks, or, you know, God forbid, get their hands cut off or whatever the story may be, and they're waiting 7 hours to be seen to an A&E, or they're waiting for an ambulance, you know, for God only knows, after being in an accident. The amount of cases I've heard of people getting into workplace accidents particularly and waiting for an ambulance, it's insane. It's absolutely insane, but it is a national disgrace. This is where it is, because it's not the fact there's no money. It'd be different if there's no such thing as there's no money, the country's bankrupt, there's no money. There's loads of money. The HSE's literally getting money thrown at them, like, and it doesn't seem to help. So, to be totally honest, it's a structural problem in the HSE. And of course the Minister for Health, you know, it's the worst job to have in any government is the Minister for Health at the moment in this country. Jennifer Cal-McNeil, she's no good. The same as the majority. Simon Howes was no good too. The whole lot of them are no good. Liam Fracke was Minister for Health too. The whole lot of them are no good. And the problem is, in my opinion, there's too many people in offices in the HSE sitting down, arsing about, pretty much, to put it nicely. They're too busy arsing around in the HSE, a lot of them. And I'm not saying the nurses and A&E and stuff, but it's the people at the top that's the problem. And to have too many people at the top on hundreds and hundreds of thousands a year, talking shite in my opinion, in the nicest way to put it. But yeah, there's loads of problems. As I say, we had to get rid of half of the people in the office at the HSE, people on hundreds of thousands a year. But it is a disgrace. It is really, really is a disgrace. And it'd be different if things are getting better. But it's getting worse, as I say. It's not in fact getting better. It'd be different if it was getting better, slightly better. We're not even slightly better. I don't know will we ever be slightly better, but it's insane. But it is a national disgrace, and it's something that needs to be talked about, because it's a lot of people too. When you think about it, that could have been saved. Think about that. As we speak now, there could be 10 people dead in Irish hospitals waiting for A&E or dying afterwards because of stress and nines. A lot of it too, it could be stress too that's killing a lot of people. Because obviously, when you're not in the greatest form, when you're going into A&E and you're in a environment that's so clustered and people are washing here and washing there and washing everywhere, people get very stressed, and that can lead to heart attacks, that can lead to strokes. Stress is the biggest killer nearly in this country, to be totally honest with you. But I just wanted to talk about, because it is important, because we never know, and again, this is the thing, we never know where I could be in 5 minutes time. I could have to go to the hospital. God knows what could happen. You could be run over by a bus, and again, that's just life. But what I'm trying to say, we want the people to be looked after, particularly when people paying huge amount of taxes. We want people to be looked after, people to be seen to in a good reasonable time. And of course, again, as I say, the people at the bottom, the nurses and stuff, they do a great job. It's not an easy job. I'm not going to sit here and say it's an easy job. It's not an easy job. You're seeing people dying. You're seeing awful stuff coming in. People being shot, people being stabbed. Awful stuff. And they should get a bit more credit and a bit more tax for it from the government. And particularly, again, a lot of our nurses and doctors leave to go to other countries because of better paying conditions. But I just wanted to talk about it. But something has to change, and hopefully it does, sooner rather than later. But unfortunately, I'm afraid I'm probably preaching to the choir on that. But hopefully, please God. But as I say, something has to change, because there's 48 people dying, give or take a week, and waiting for A&E, and it's very important. It should be very important for everybody that we see to that, and we have to sort it. Because again, so many people. If we looked at the whole figure throughout the year, so many people could have been saved. The same with the ambulances turning up. So many people could have been saved. We could have been looking maybe at 300, 400 people could have been saved, people's lives, young people maybe too. Having cardiac accidents, could have been saved. But it's desperate stuff. It really is. And hopefully, please God, something to change next year. But I hardly doubt it. To be totally honest. But anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts.